This is Wrestling with Ideas.
When you joined TNA, obviously with the Gladiator stuff, you debuted as a modern-day Gladiator. How much influence did you have in that character of a Gladiator when you were in TNA?
Zero.
Zero? No. And I'm guessing at the time Vince Russo was booking for TNA. Yeah. How much interaction did you have with Vince during your time in TNA?
Early on, not much. So that was kind of a problem with the whole modern day Gladiator thing, was that I didn't know anything about like the etiquette of backstage and a proper wrestling company and all that sort of thing. So I was just doing what wrestling companies want, which is just to show up and be like a loyal soldier and be like, yep, I'll do whatever you want, which is not always necessarily the right thing to do. So I got there and I saw like they had me record these voiceovers and record these like vignettes in Nashville and stuff where I was like running the stairs at Vanderbilt and all this sort of stuff. And I thought, oh, this is cool, like it wasn't really clear like how I was going to be portrayed at that, because I was just doing like athletic stuff. So I just thought, well, maybe they're just going to sort of portray me as like this young sort of upcoming athlete, I was okay, fine. And then I got to TVs and I had asked, like, what should I, do? And they said, oh, well, your gimmick is the modern-day Gladiator, so you just, go with that. So I had really no direction and wasn't given anything like that. I just kind of, so I got some stuff thrown together that I thought might fit, and then that was the first time I had a conversation with Vince, was after I had my first match. And then he goes, oh, bro, like, this isn't what I meant. This isn't what I was looking for at all. Like, this isn't what I wanted. And I was thinking, like, well, why did you let me go out there and do a match? It was sort of I think Road Dogg was the agent. I think Road Dogg sort of said to me, like, well, welcome to the show kind of thing. Like, this is, you better get used to that. Because it was so weird, it was my first match, and no one had really told me what they wanted me to do, so I just sort of went out and did it. And then they were like, oh, we didn't want you to do that. Like, and then Vince, then the next TV tapings, like Vince had all this leather stuff made and that helmet and all that stuff. He had it all made for me. And the whole time it wasn't until later where I sort of said, my character on the show stood out because I was the only pro wrestler character. Like I was doing everything except like the stoic kind of normal Gladiator stuff. Like I was being like brash and like cutting promos and being like outrageous and running into the crowd and stuff. Like that's how I got over on that show. So they clearly hadn't really watched it. And it was only Kurt who finally said something like, haven't you seen this guy on that TV show? Like he's a really good promo. He says all this real funny stuff, and he's like, you're really good, like, off the cuff and can say all this stuff, and Vince is like, oh, bro, like, I thought you were a Gladiator. Like, this is what I wanted. And so it was just one of those things where they had just, there was a bit of a miscommunication. Like, they'd heard the word Gladiator and just thought that they meant, like, Russell Crowe. So it was, it was a sort of a weird start. And then luckily for me, I think they just realized, like, well, we didn't really get this right, so just scrap it before it becomes too burned into people's minds. So then that's when the British invasion came along.
Keep updated with everything going on with Wrestling with Ideas by following us on Twitter or leaving a like on the Wrestling with Ideas Facebook page. Listen to archived episodes of the show on Podbean and the Podbean app, or take a listen on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, and Player FM. We will be back to wrestle with ideas.